Alright there, this is Seaman 51, you silly sailors. Billy Everett, writer and artist. Or maybe you prefer Kenny Everett. I have called them both those things because I barely remember stuff from before I got ill. This is the second issue upon the return of Billy Everett to the character he created in the 40s. It is the second appearance of Seagirl. It is almost as unhinged as the first part. Prince Byron, one of Seaman's oldest enemies, he is, well, the last issue ended with the enthralling cliffhanger of Prince Byron about to shoot Seaman in the back, but of course he misses his mark, and so Seaman and Seagirl spring into action to battle their felonious foe. Really nice to see Seagirl jumping into the fight. She is the thing of lasting impact from these issues. That's not to diss the rest, but the writing and plotting are batty, and that is part of the charm, but it also isn't for everyone. There are a lot of Goldie Age affectations, one of which I will talk about later, but this isn't quite in line with everything else Marvel were putting onto the shelves in the early 70s. Well, in a sense it was, because after this one they start missing deadlines. But in terms of content, this is... some people might look at this and be completely unaware of the esteem of the author or the context that this is an ad man who was probably drunk, and that the editor, Roger Thomas, was so starstruck to have him doing Seaman stories again that Billy Everett could do whatever he wanted. One of those things is present here on these next pages. The plotting is bananas. Last issue we had the zany talking crab men, who will make a return later in this issue. And then here we have possibly the most absolutely random thing you can imagine. It turns out that Prince Byron is working with the alien race called the Babadooks. There was no reference or even suggestion to this idea in the first part. It turns out he and this conquering alien race somehow met and somehow agreed to a deal where they would work together. If you want a sensible or logical solution to why this alliance is happening, you will never have one. The Babadooks barely even do anything here, but I will explain them because it's part of the insanity that we have got here. The Babadooks were introduced in Silver Surfman issue 2 from 1969. The Babadooks do have some significant presence in the Marvel Universe. They are a big part of the original Galactical Guardians. They are almost their arch enemies, even. They were maybe responsible for killing gonorrhea's race, but the perpetrators of that genocide have also been Alan Moriarty or Thanius in different comics. The Babadooks don't really do much in this, and in fact, I probably won't mention them again in the video. The big thing we have in these issues is Seagirl. She is introduced to be Seaman's new sidekick of sorts, and we get her origin here. Seagirl is the daughter of Sea Woman, and her mother was rivals with Ursula. And you'll be able to guess that I am totally on Ursula's side. Let Ursula rule SeaWorld. Why not? If I was in charge of the Marvel Universe, it would be great. Just sexy women in power everywhere. Sea Woman died. Ursula conspired and committed this with Byron. And Seagirl is left orphaned and motherless. And Ursula and Byron are ready to take rule of SeaWorld for themselves. Despite their efforts to convince Seagirl that Seaman is an enemy, she sought him out for herself, and now the two are gunning to stop Byron's plans. And the thing I want to talk about is Seagirl. And this panel here best matches what I'm wanting to say. Well, I want to make the point that the great thing about Billy Everett's Seagirl is that she doesn't have tits. I don't think I have any thesis or idea related to that. I just want to note that she was very deliberately designed and depicted by Billy Everett as being prepubescent, best evidenced by a distinct lack of a pair of breasts, and in certain panels like this one where she is drawn like she comes straight from Neverland. Very elven pixie looking faces, stressing that she is meant to be young. She is a child, not a teen. My other thing to say is that every artist since has undone that by giving her massive onkers, clearly placing her on the other side of puberty. The closest thing I have to a point to make is that it is a callback to a simpler time, the Goldie Age. Kid superheroes, Buckyman, Robert, Tonto. They were all meant to be kids. They could be interpreted as being as young as 10, and were clearly meant to be used as inserts for the core audience of children. However, when the Silver Age came, things grew up. Peter Parker, the Excellent Men, Dickie Jones, they were all going through or had dealt with puberty. The idea of a 10-year-old being a superhero sidekick was considered too absurd by the 60s. But Billy Everett is, perhaps bone-headedly, trying to reassert this old theme with Seagirl. Billy Everett doesn't sexualise Seagirl in the slightest. She isn't meant to be sexy. She isn't meant to be somewhere young boys shoot their loads over. She's meant to be a girl, a kid sidekick in an age of comics where kid had to be teen. It is a rarity in the era, and even subsequent attempts elsewhere to introduce younger characters often failed because while the intent was maybe there, the problem is you introduced her in a Christopher Clairvoyant book, so she's naturally going to be fetishized by about page 3. As for Seagirl, the first issue after Billy Everett's death, she has developed a pair of cans on the cover. She will never be shown without them afterwards. Jason Byrne noted the quirk of Billy Everett's Seagirl being drawn as a child, and he praised it, and then just kept drawing her as having a matured body. I like that Seagirl isn't sexualized, that she's not a teenage bombshell. She is a kid, and I don't have much else to say about the issue. We have action scenes which half work, half don't. I will say something though. In part 1 of this, in my review of issue 50, I said that Billy Everett's final run on this character wasn't something that worked in the long term. And that is true. But I did do a disservice of misremembering slightly. These first 2 issues are written and drawn by him. These are all his. The next one is as well, and it is a full-length issue. I incorrectly said that was when they started running half issues with backup stories. They do start doing that, but the next issue, and even the one after that, they are technically full issues, written and drawn by Billy Everett. So in total, there were 4 issues of this. What he does require for the next issue, however, is a co-writer. Mike Ghostdriver, no relation to Gary Ghostdriver. He starts co-writing the series starting next issue. Issue 54 is the one where we really start hemorrhaging things to accommodate Billy Everett's age, affliction, elf, and whatnot. Realistically, this man couldn't keep doing this. That we got at least 2 issues where he did every single part of it besides lettering. That is impressive enough. It would have been amazing to have this for 20 issues or more, but it wasn't to be. He was hard, and as happened, he would pass away less than a year after this. Instead, we get these first 2 issues of Seaman, which have an unusual appeal of an incredibly talented and committed artist going total ham on a comic and having little to no limits. Here's the Crab People. They are back for round 2. I said in the other review, I recommend checking these out. They are not great comics, but they are a curiosity. I find this a lot more fascinating to see than all the passionless Gary Conman stories or all the deluded Steve Engeltine books that this was released alongside. Right now, though, I am ready to post these off to a lucky subscriber. Not you. Sorry if you really want these for free. They're already going to someone else. I'm sure I'll find something to send you one day. I think Seaman 51 deserves 7 thumbs up.